In this video, I'm going to give an introduction to cellular respiration. Now, cellular respiration is the way our cells use energy, and there's quite a few steps and it gets really confusing. If you've watched the photosynthesis videos that I've done, I think photosynthesis is easier than this. So again, I'm doing an introductory video just to help you get a grip of it. I'm not going to go into all the details, so I'll just be saying every now and then some products, but in the other videos it'll be in a much more detail. So cellular respiration basically is how organisms use glucose and gets this glucose and uses it, turns it into ATP. Now, in another video I said, well, in the ATP video, your cells can't use glucose. Even though glucose is our energy source, they can't use it. It's not the correct currency. ATP is. So basically, once you get your 6-carbon glucose, cellular respiration is all the steps that the energy from this end up becoming energy in this form. Okay. Now, there's two different kinds of cellular respiration. There's aerobic and there's anaerobic. Now these may be familiar with you if you go to the gym and or you like sports, and they're the same things. Okay, so when you think about aerobic respiration, you think about oxygen. So aerobic respiration uses oxygen. Anaerobic doesn't use oxygen. Okay. Aerobic respiration makes, because it uses oxygen and there's more steps, okay, it makes loads of energy, loads of ATP. Anaerobic respiration makes ATP, but not as much. Okay, so you can't, when you're in anaerobic state, you can't last as long. You fatigue quicker, and it's because you can't get enough oxygen to use as an aerobic system. I hope that makes sense. So, cellular respiration takes place within an organelle, and that organelle is called mitochondria. Mitochondria, okay? It's a very important cell. Don't get confused, organelle. Don't get confused with mitochondria and chloroplasts. Plant cells have chloroplasts which convert light energy into glucose, but they still use mitochondria because then that glucose needs to be transformed to ATP effectively. So plants have mitochondria and chloroplasts. So I'll give you a little attempt of a drawing of a mitochondria. Okay, so this is a rough mitochondria. If you see a picture that looks anything like this, it's mitochondria. Okay, there's nothing else in an organelle within a cell that looks like this. And it has a few parts. You need to know the names of the parts because these are different places where the steps of respiration take place. So this here is the outer membrane. And this here is the inner membrane. Easy so far. What we have inside the inner membrane, we have this like area here. This is called the matrix. And then the other thing you need to know is what these folds are called. So as you can see, there's these folds. Inside the fold is the matrix. But one of the folds, or the folds, are called the cristae. Okay? And like I said, there's stages that take place within both anaerobic and aerobic respiration, and they take place in this organelle. Remember, this is just an overview. but this hopefully shows you how much there is to do. So we've got our mitochondria. I'll now describe the steps quickly. The first step, this is of both, is glycolysis. And glycolysis, number one, takes place outside the mitochondria, so it takes place in the in the cytoplasm. And this is the very first stage of both. The next stage is called the link reaction. Now, in some books or websites, you won't see the link reaction and you'll think, does it not exist? But in Britain, in the A-level specifications, they talk about the link reaction. That's why it's in this video. But if you watch some YouTube videos that are from America, they might not have the link reaction in. So the link reaction takes place inside the matrix. The next stage we have is one that you may be familiar with, called the Krebs cycle. This also takes place inside the matrix. And the last stage, last but by no means least, and has got the longest name, we have oxidative phosphorylation. So it's a bit of a mouthful. Phosphorylation. And this takes place on the inner membrane, okay, across this inner membrane. Okay, so I'm going to go over them steps a little bit more, but in a little bit more detail, but not massive. So what we have at the beginning is we have our glucose molecule. Glucose. I'll just draw this to the side of it. And that goes in to a set of processes. And these set of processes is the first stage, and it's called glycolysis. And after glycolysis, these sets of processes, a product is made. Again, in further videos I'll talk about the actual product. Then this product goes into another little machine, so to speak, and we have the link reaction. And then the product of this goes into the Krebs cycle. Okay, so this is like a production line. Your glucose goes in, goes to glycolysis, goes to link reaction. If it's anaerobic now, it won't go any further, but we're going to talk about aerobic from now on. So glucose to glycolysis makes a product, some stuff happens, in the link reaction makes another product, and it goes to the Krebs cycle. And then that does some stuff. And the last stage, remember, I said, is oxidative phosphorylation. Phosphorylation. Okay? So these first three stages in aerobic respiration, all part of a production line. Oxidative phosphorylation isn't. The products, or some products from all these stages, go over to this. Okay, so I'll try and squeeze these on. Remember, the whole point of respiration is to make from this lots and lots of ATP. So the first stage, I'm not going to go into what goes on, but it makes some ATP. And we wanted some ATP, so that's good, it's done its job. But it also makes a product called reduced NAD. And this reduced NAD goes over to oxidative phosphorylation. It's used over there. But we've made one ATP, so that's alright. The link reaction also sends some reduced NAD over to the oxidative phosphorylation, but it also lets out a bit of CO2. So some CO2 is given off and reduced NAD is sent over to there. The Krebs cycle, lots of stuff goes on here. Some more CO2 is released, but then two products go over. You get your reduced, you guessed it, NAD, and then you get a similar molecule called reduced FAD. And all these reduced NAD, reduced NAD, reduced NAD, reduced FAD go over to oxidative phosphorylation. Krebs cycle also makes a little bit of ATP, so that's good because that's what we're after. Ba-ding. Okay, so we've made a bit of ATP here, a bit of ATP there, but really the rest of all this has made these products which go over to oxidative phosphorylation. Along with them, oxygen goes in, and what comes out is a lot of ATP. These things, these NAD and FAD, allow processes to take place which produce loads of ATP. Oxidative phosphorylation also produces some water. So when you're running around breathing heavy, okay, just have a second to think about respiration. You're breathing heavy, okay, well you're using oxygen, so your oxygen's going in, you know that. You're using your energy, your glucose, so from the food you've taken. You're breathing out CO2, and you also respire and breathe out some water, and you make loads of energy. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It's just a quickish video for an introduction, but to go in further detail, please watch the other videos. Thank you.